Welcome to another reaction stream. We're looking ahead to Game Week 28 and we got the news today about Norwich versus Chelsea, which I'm going to go over for anyone who isn't aware. And there is still a game going on right now, so this might be a bit of a weird time, but testing new timings and new things. And also I'm not able to do one later. And yeah, and there was also the possibility of doing it yesterday. I couldn't do so, and that's why we are streaming right now. But thank you for everyone who voted in the poll that I put out earlier today, and it's much appreciated. I'm going to talk about how my team has done so far in Game Week 27. And the free hit is kind of mixed bag, and I'm actually quite happy with it, even though there was a few things that kind of went against me. So I made a few wrong calls in terms of the best City midfielder. Foden ended up being the best one. Bernardo Silva was another one who got the assist. And also Livramento. I thought that he could do very well if he started, but I wasn't sure if that would be the case. And there you go. And also United defenders and all of that. I actually was thinking of Maguire and Luke Shaw. I was not sure about Shaw starting. No pun intended there. Very surprised of Maguire being dropped, even though he might deserve it. And Bruno Fernandes, he was one of the biggest underperformers this week, and he really should have scored at least a goal. Probably should have also squared it to Ronaldo. So that was a very disappointing performance from him. The captaincy as well. I mean, it is Weghorst after all, but very disappointing so far. Congratulations to any of you who captained Son or Kane or even a Cancelo, etc. All very good. And we still got a bit left. We've got this game going on right now between Wolves and West Ham, and I'm actually quite happy with what's happening right now. FPL-wise, maybe not from a kind of league perspective, but looking at that, I would have had two Wolves defenders, so Jose Sarr and Cody, in my original team. So if they kept a clean sheet, that would have been poor. And also, Jeroboam wasn't the one who scored, but I'm not exactly sure if who got the assist for that goal for Soucek. So let me know if anyone does know, and thank you for everyone who's tuning in right now. Once again, I know it's a bit of a weird time to be streaming. And there's also the Carabao Cup final in about an hour. So yeah, I'm actually going to check this quickly, because I wasn't able to check the goal myself. And all I know is that Soucek scored. Antonio got the assist. Okay, fair enough. Anyone who has Antonio, enjoy the points. But yeah, I'm very happy that Bona's blanking, because I had him in my original team, even with the wild card played. So let's actually now go through your questions, and let's see. Hit the like button and all of that good stuff. Lipox says, I've given up. Look, I wouldn't give up. Just have fun, and if it doesn't really go your way, maybe just take a little break. But yeah, I wouldn't give up just yet. Welcome, Hospa. You take Watkins out on free and he scores. Move from double C defense to double C attack and no returns. Classic FPL, that's exactly it. And we all were thinking, you know, should we go for Sterling? How do we make a way or find a way to go for Sterling and all these players in your midfield? And in the end, yeah, it's Foden who does the business. And you also think about Foden being a rotation risk. He starts and he gets the points. So there you go. Welcome, Mike. Hello, how are you? Love from Ghana. Would you take a -8 to save a wild card? Thank you, James. The thing is, look, a -8 isn't too bad in a double game like 28, where Chelsea will most likely have a double. So I think yes, but wildcarding in 28 isn't a bad idea. And if you're gonna make other moves, should we say, on top of that -8 on a wildcard, and they're beneficial long term, then I'd go for it, just wildcard. But a -8 is worth it as well, basically. Reece James on the bench for Chelsea. Yeah, he's going to be back fairly soon. I'd still be a bit cautious, and I'm going to be talking about Chelsea players very soon, about getting them in right now, especially Reece James, you know. But Thiago Silva and Rudiger, they're probably the pick of the bunch, and also Ziyech in midfield. Welcome, Hoxton. 59 without a free hit. Wow, that's really good, mate. Fair play. 59 without a free hit is exceptional for me. Is it worth getting Dawson? I don't think so. Not right now. Not for me. Yeah, in terms of wildcard drafts, I'm going to be making a video separately for that. I'm going to cover different stuff in this stream. But there'll be a wildcard and free hit video, because both chips are viable this week. 38 points for Weghorst captain, and Roberts to play. Terrible game week for me. Yeah, it's a bit underwhelming, but I'm actually quite happy because if I didn't play the free hit, I actually could be looking at a very bad score. Yeah, Antonio says, thank you for that, Ilyas, yeah. Hey Dylan, bench boosting in 28, Semedo replacement, Livramento or KWP. If you can afford it, I'd go for a Chelsea defender, mate, definitely. If you can't, then fair enough. I think Kyle Walker-Peters would be my pick. I don't think Livramento plays both games. I could be wrong. And I think Kyle Walker-Peters is the most nailed of the fullbacks. Any Bone returns in the West Ham game? Yeah, no returns so far. He actually nearly scored just before I came live. Let me actually check that. Yeah, no, it's still 1-0. No returns for Bowen. It was an Antonio assist and Soucek goal. Sancho Mahrez in my free hit. Damn, that's really unlucky. I mean, the Sancho one was... No one expected him to be benched. It does kind of make sense, but at the same time, you know, he is forming part of the best team at the moment. And Mahrez, I mean, I don't get it. You know, he was benched in the last game against Spurs. But there you go, he's not nailed, and actually Foden is more nailed, and maybe he was just a more sensible pick, but it's very easy to say these things now. I still preferred the Mahrez pick. If both of them started, I would back Mahrez to score, especially with his recent form, but there you go. Hi Dylan, what would your transfer targets be for this week? Well, now with the Chelsea news, I really want a Chelsea player, but then you also have to factor in Game Week 30, and what are you doing then? I'm actually looking to navigate it without using the free hit because I just used one in 27, and perhaps save my second free hit for Game Week 36 or another one. It becomes a bit more difficult though, so if I want to kind of navigate Game Week 30, I might need to go for a Coutinho instead of Ziyech. But basically, one of those midfielders could come in for Jarrod Bowen. If not, I could also consider Joe Willock, who's got back-to-back doubles. I'm going to be showing you my transfer plans anyway later on. And in defence, that's where it gets a bit tricky. So what you can see is my free hit team. Most of these aren't in my actual original team. But something else I could do is get rid of Robertson for Rudiger or even Tierney. And I think the Robertson to Rudiger one would be more beneficial because I could also make the moves I want in midfield and attack. Weghorst, as much as I like him long term and I think he's worth purchasing, I think I might go to a double game week player. So maybe say Maximan if he's back fit. I could go for Che Adams or even Emmanuel Dennis. Once again, I'm not a big fan of any of these strikers, but Che Adams is showing good form. But I'm kind of open-minded about this, and I'll let you know, and I'm going to be showing you what I'm thinking of at the moment, but I'm going to look at how the FA Cup progresses, and depending on who gets knocked out in the FA Cup and who blanks in 30 or who plays, that will also play a part in my transfer plans, because at the moment I would try to kind of navigate the free hit in 30, not use it there, save it, and hold it on for later on. No Ziyech in the team, yeah. Well, he had a little problem. I think once he's available and all of that, he should be fine. He's one of the most nailed players. Are Chelsea doubling in 28? Do you think wildcard is worth it or take hits for Wolves and Chelsea players? Well, basically, I'm going to put this on right now. So let's go on this. This was the announcement made earlier today. So this is announced by Norwich themselves. Our Premier League fixture at home to Chelsea in March will be rearranged should either side progress in the Emirates FA Cup this week. So basically, that game in Game Week 30 will be moved to Game Week 28 if Chelsea or Norwich progress to the next round of the FA Cup. So pretty much, in all likelihood, they're both going to have a double in 28, and Chelsea would face Burnley and Norwich. That's a really good double. I think both games would be away. And even then, really good fixtures until the end of the season. Also a double in 28. I think Chelsea players are definitely worth getting. And yes, it's worth wildcarding, but I wouldn't just wildcard to bring in a Chelsea player or two. You could also bring in some other players to navigate Game Week 30 or even bench boost in 29. There's so many different ways to go about it, but this is definitely a possibility. And if I were wildcarding right now in 28, then yeah, I think I'd go for double or even triple Chelsea. So maybe one or two Chelsea defenders and Ziyech in midfield. But yeah, I'm going to see if there's any comments about Ziyech, because obviously if he's kind of a big issue heading into Game Week 28, then I wouldn't do that. And yeah, Diego Jota's on the bench today. That's another thing I've seen. So we can also go through the lineups if you want. Obviously, this doesn't really have any effect on the Premier League. The effect has already been done because both teams blank in 27. But in terms of the future effects, there's not going to be anything. So yeah, Diaz starts for Liverpool. That's interesting. And there's no Alisson. Wow. Yeah, there's Keller starting in goal. Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, Salah, Diaz, and Mane. Wow, that's interesting. And then for Chelsea, Mendy has come in for Kepa, Chalobah, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Azpilicueta, Kante, Kovacic, Alonso, Mount, Pulisic, and Havertz. That Alisson one's big news. And Jota also being on the bench is quite big for Liverpool. But yeah, no Alisson. That's going to be interesting. I mean, Keller's been pretty good. Obviously, that's probably the wrong pronunciation, by the way. But he's been decent this season when he's played. Yeah, I think this should be an interesting game. I'm definitely going to be watching, keeping an eye on it. I don't even mind if people spoil it. I'm going to be behind anyway. I'm not watching it completely live. But yeah, pretty much for anyone who isn't aware, Chelsea in all likelihood will double in Game Week 28. It depends on if Chelsea or Norwich progress to the next round. And if they do, which is very likely, then their game will be moved from Game Week 30 to 28. That's pretty much it. I'm now going to be showing you how my team looks like right now without transfers in Game Week 28. I'm looking to use the bench boost, but in order to do so, I might take a -4 or even a -8 hit. So Jarrod Bowen could be sold. I could also sell Weghorst as much as I like him, and I don't like most of the strikers really. And also a defender, maybe a Chelsea defender, but I'm keeping my options open. I might even keep Weghorst, not even bench boost, save it for another week. So I'm keeping all of my options open there. Let's see what else. Yeah, wildcard draft video is coming up soon, and also free hit. Let's see, what else have we missed? Who to replace Semedo with? Chelsea defender, if you have enough money. It's pretty simple for me, yeah. I have Saiss and Bowen now. Need something. Yeah, Saiss was down in the first half. I saw that. But yeah, you definitely need something from those two. Lamptey starting the last few game weeks due to defensive issues. Worth a keep, or do you move to KWP? That's a good question. I mean, Lamptey has a double in 29, but it's a very poor one. I would still move him, but the big priority right now, if you're making a defender transfer, is Chelsea defenders for me. I think Rudiger actually might arguably be the best captain in 28. I'm tempted to take a minus 16 hit to make my squad for game week 30 and 29. Do you think I should bring in Chelsea players? Yes, but if you are looking for game week 30, try not to maybe have too many Chelsea players or players that blank in 30. In all likelihood, Chelsea will blank in 30. So yeah, in terms of wildcard drafts, there's going to be a video for that. How would you get a Chelsea defender in? Yeah, that's the tricky one. So I think those who wildcarded in 26, it's a bit difficult because we've got the plan to possibly navigate game week 30 without using the free hit. If I bring in Rudiger, it probably would have to be for Robertson because Tierney has been brought in for the double in 29, for the double he had in 26, as well as the blank that he actually plays in for game week 30. Who are the core players for wildcard in game week 28? I think Rudiger has to be right up there. Trent Alexander-Arnold. In goal, I would still go for Ramsdale or Jose Sarr. You could even go for both. And another one to think about is Dubravka. He's got back-to-back doubles in 28 and 29. And there's also Forster. He's pretty decent. And Foster's not too bad as a second goalkeeper. Then you're also looking at Salah. Obviously, he's always going to be in these teams. I think up front, that's where it gets a bit tricky. Jimenez was benched today, which is very surprising. Che Adams is someone that, if you can afford it, I would go for him with his form. Brosia's still really good for me, or Broja. Other players to consider up front, that's where it gets a bit kind of hazy. Weghorst is a good option long term for me, but he is facing Chelsea in game week 28 and also in game week 30, or around that time, 31 it might be, he faces Man City. So that's where it gets a bit more hazy. I think I'd go for a Spurs attacker, whether it's Son or Kane. I prefer Son still, but Kane is in great form too. What's up with Alisson? I've actually got no idea. I'm going to check now. But if anyone does know, leave it in the live chat. That's quite interesting actually. Let me see this. Let's see. But is Alisson on the bench? Yeah, he's just on the bench. Yeah, so he's just gone with Keller. Yeah. Wow, that's pretty interesting there. I thought he had like an injury or something. He actually has picked up quite a few in the last year or two. Hi Dylan, really enjoying your live shows. My question is, who is the best Chelsea defender? Well, that's a good question you ask, and I'm actually going to go for it very soon. I'll make a direct statistical comparison between Rudiger and Thiago Silva. I think if Reece James is fit, he's got the most upside, but in terms of how nailed they are and also their goal threat, I think Rudiger's the best, but then you have to factor in price, and you might not be able to afford him. I think Thiago Silva is definitely a capable replacement. Yeah, I already answered that question. What else is there? So, what would you do with Reguilon, Laporte, Bowen and Watkins? Also, is Jimenez as nailed as we thought? Maybe not as nailed as we thought, potentially. I wouldn't discount him completely yet. He's still a good choice, but if you have Jimenez, in all likelihood I would keep him because the double is very good and he doesn't blank in 30. And also Hwang hasn't really covered himself in glory. He missed a really good chance today. He should have scored that. And I think he also missed a good chance against Arsenal to make it 2-0. But yeah, Jimenez is just on right now. I'm now getting fouled by Mikel Antonio actually. So yeah, I still think Jimenez is a good option, but might not be as nailed as we think, especially with Hwang back. What is the double? It's basically Chelsea and Norwich. So Chelsea would face Burnley away and Norwich away, and also Norwich would have a double there, but I don't think many people would be interested in them. Dylan, would you go for 2 Arsenal defenders or 2 midfielders forwards? Good question. I think, yeah, so Ramsdale and 2 others. Yeah, I'd go for Ramsdale and Saka. Then the other one is completely up to you. I think with the Chelsea double in 28, obviously it's not confirmed yet, by the way, there's still a chance of Chelsea or Norwich basically blanking or not blanking, not having a double in 28, but it's very slim. Then I would just go for a Chelsea defender instead and maybe spread it. So go for a Wolves defender, Arsenal defender, a Liverpool one, maybe City and Chelsea. If you don't have enough money, you can always go for a budget one, maybe from Southampton or Aston Villa. But yeah, I think maybe I'd go for 1 Arsenal defender right now. Who will win, Chelsea or Liverpool? I backed Liverpool before, not by much. I think it's going to be quite tight. I think Tuchel has lost the most times to Klopp of any manager, so 9 times. That doesn't really mean too much though, and they drew this season. I think I'm going to back Liverpool though, but yeah, they drew both times. Sarr for a hit. Yeah, I think it's worth it. It's a really good double. Yeah, Jimenez just came on, exactly. It's quite surprising, isn't it? Only triple captain used so far. Late push, wildcard, 2 free hits and bench boosts, just like my team in real life. Be my club, Dylan, yeah. Yeah, no, you can still do really well. There's so much football to be played, so many doubles and blanks. I'm not going to motivate you the way Klopp would probably, but just I wouldn't let it get to you, honestly. I still think you've got a long way to go. You could even, who knows, you could actually surpass your expectations. That's what I'd say. Foden, Bowen to Coutinho, and Cucurella to Digne, Livramento, Rudiger. Yeah, I like that. I like those moves. I think I probably would get rid of Bowen instead, Marcus, and Cucurella to Digne, Livramento, Rudiger. Rudiger, has to be Rudiger. I don't know if Livramento plays both in that double, and I'd actually prefer Kyle Walker-Peters over Livramento. I think it's just a cut pick. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty much it. Still surprised though, because even with Chelsea, Kepa was the cup keeper, but Mendy comes in again. If you had to choose Sarr, Ramsdale, I prefer Ramsdale, but Sarr's got an amazing double in 28, and that's why most people would go towards the Wolves keeper, but I prefer Arsenal's defence just a little bit more. Dylan, I have Trent and Robbo. Robbo has outscored Trent by a lot. Yeah, I can see what you mean there. Yeah, that's a fair argument, and also saves you a bit of money there, because I think Robertson's 7.3 or something, and Arnold is 8.5. Probably around 8 million for you because of value. But yeah, I think Rudiger right now will be my top pick. Once Reece James fully assimilates into the team, I think he's definitely worth it as well. Just keeping an eye on as well on the game. So yeah, just 5 minutes left, or even less than that actually. I'm a bit behind. And added time. So West Ham are winning. No returns for Bowen. None from the Wolves players, of course. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Should I bench King in 28? I mean, he has a double. It depends who you bench him for, really. But I don't think I'd be too against that. Yeah, has brought Liverpool this far in the competition. Yeah, that makes sense. Fair enough, yeah. I was just still a bit surprised, because if you look at Chelsea, they've kind of taken the opposite approach. But yeah, that's a good point. I probably should have said that. Is Fraser a good option with back-to-back double game weeks? I honestly prefer Willock right now. He's showing some very good form. I think that's 3 returns in a row. And he showed last season he's very streaky. So I'd actually prefer Willock, but Fraser's also worth considering, yeah. I already made a wild card and I think bench boost 28. So do I do Cancelo to James and Ramsdale to Dubravka with a hit? I wouldn't get rid of Ramsdale for Dubravka, mate. I would do Fraser to Rudiger or to Reece James. I would do that. So yeah, Cancelo to James or Rudiger, but I wouldn't do the other move, in my opinion. If you can't afford it and you need to get rid of Ramsdale, then fair enough. But either way, Cancelo is more expensive. You should be able to afford it. How do you get Kane, Son and Salah in the same team? I mean, team value is a huge part of it. I think number 1 in the world. I think he might have all 3 on his wild card, something like that. But yeah, team value is a big part of it, and you'd have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to downgrade someone else. Yeah, you might have to have 1 or 2 pure bench fodder options. Jimenez was just getting rest today and getting Silva a chance, which he didn't take. Yeah, that's fair enough. And look, I still think Jimenez will play the vast majority of games. I don't suddenly think he's a bad option, but it's still surprising nonetheless. It's a really crucial game for both teams. Currently have 8 players for blank Game Week 30 without using any transfers, or hoping to have 2 transfers going into Game Week 30. Yeah, no, that's still good. 8 players right now in Game Week 30. You can easily navigate that and get to 10 or 11 without even hits or transfers. So that's really good, yeah. Is 30 a better free option or 33? It's really difficult because you don't know the full extent of Game Week 33 yet, but I think in most people's cases, Game Week 30 is a really good time to free hit. But for those who just wildcarded, I think it's a bit different, and you'd maybe want to save it for Game Week 36, for example. Chelsea, Rudiger, triple captain. I don't know about triple captain, but it's not a bad idea, actually. I'd still rather go for Salah if you haven't used it yet in 29 or maybe later on in the season. But that's a good shout if you want to go really different as well. Had Bruno, Sancho, Mahrez and Son in my 11 and Kyle Walker-Peters first on my bench with 9 points. Thought he'd come on for either Sancho or Mahrez, but both United and City decided to flop, so both came on for a single pointers. Yeah, as soon as I saw Mahrez on the bench, I just knew he's going to come on in the last 10 or 20 minutes and not do anything. It's a big shame. I think Mahrez, if he started, could have done really well. The same goes for Sancho, potentially. When is the best time to get Ziyech? I think, well, assuming he's available ahead of Game Week 28, I think now is a really good time. You know, he's got a double in 28 potentially if Chelsea or Norwich advance to the next round in the FA Cup. But I'd mainly focus on the defenders. Ziyech is just a bonus and he's the best attacker right now. Reguilon to Saiss, Laporte to Rudiger -4 or move Bowen to Mount Rafinha. All are good moves, mate. I'd probably go for the first set of options and go for the defenders. But you could even take a -8 there and also get Rafinha or Mount for Bowen. But I would rather go for Ziyech over Mount right now. Which Wolves defenders the best option? The same ones as always. I think Saiss, 8 Nuri and Cody. 8 Nuri though, obviously not as nailed. So maybe Saiss or Cody's your best bet there. Wildcard 28, yes. If you haven't used it now, already should I say, then now is a good time, or even Game Week 31. Yeah, that's what I think. What else do we have here? Just early thoughts, but what do you think about Sarr to Ramsdale, Robertson to Rudiger, Bowen to Coutinho? I like all of them. Sarr to Ramsdale, or the other way around, I'm guessing. I'm not that sure about, but yeah, I like the rest. If you're getting all of these players in, by the way, let me actually just check. But yeah, I like all of the transfers basically, even if you're getting rid of Robertson or whatever, but I wouldn't get rid of Sarr for Ramsdale or vice versa, basically. Forson Willock from Newcastle. I think he's probably the best Newcastle option alongside Saint-Maximin. That's what I think, yeah. And I prefer him over Fraser and all these other options Newcastle have at their disposal. He's in good form right now, and I really like it. He's a great enabler too. I already made wildcard. Yeah, I already answered that question, Wap. Yeah, no problem, mate. Thank you very much. Just saw that you saw it. So my bad. De Gea to Sarr and Reguilon Laporte to Chelsea defender. Oh yeah, I already answered that, didn't I? Into the 70s this week. Wow, that's really good, Harry. Free hit or not, that's really good. Dylan, would you go Sarr or Rafinha for double in 28? Yeah, Leeds are awful, but now they've got a new manager. I'd still go for Rafinha, but Sarr's still good. He looks sharp. He's a bit selfish, but yeah, he's a good player, obviously. And being selfish isn't a bad thing in FPL. Do you regret selling Cancelo? I mean, I had him in my free hit team, so I don't really regret it because when I sold him in 26, he got 1 point, and then I got him back in on the free hit. He got me 9. But yeah, I like Cancelo. I like him still. He's not a bad option all of a sudden. Not really, though, because with Chelsea potentially having a double in 28, it just kind of opens things up, and I'd rather cover other teams. Foster to Sarr, Laporte to Cody -4. Yes, I think it's good transfers, Ben, definitely. Broja and Adams double up. Yes. I'm actually thinking... Look, let me actually show you right now, since I've talked a lot about this. So let's go to FPL.team. So if you haven't used it already, this site is really good. FPL.team. Check it out. You can plan ahead. All you need is your team ID, which you can find on the Fantasy Premier League website. This is something I'm thinking about. And by the way, everyone on the bench would be bench boosted. It's just... It doesn't really matter which order, who's on my bench, because it's a bench boost. So, yeah, Broja, Adams, all of these players... I think it looks pretty good, actually. So, with this team, it'd be Rudiger in for Robertson, it'd be Ziyech coming in for Jarrod Bowen, and Che Adams coming in for Weghorst for a -8. Now, I'm not fully committed to this, because I'm also thinking about keeping Robertson. Maybe Rudiger comes in for Tierney, or if not, I just focus on the midfield and attack. So, Adams, Saint-Maximin, or Dennis come in for Weghorst, and in midfield I can get Ziyech, Coutinho. I'm still looking at Coutinho. He's not suddenly a bad option. I just look at the fixtures beyond Game Week 28, and I really like Chelsea. They're also a much better team than Aston Villa. But the good thing about Aston Villa is they don't blank in 30, and it enables me to go by without using the free hit, and it gives me more flexibility at the end of the season. But let me know what you think of these transfers. I'm actually quite happy with this. But getting rid of Robertson doesn't really sit right with me. I could also get rid of Trent and keep Robertson, but I'm not really too sure about that. Let me know what you guys think, but that's one idea, one set of transfers I'm thinking about. So if I go very aggressive, take the -8, I would captain Rudiger, by the way, probably with this team, assuming Chelsea double. If Chelsea don't double, if Norwich don't double, then obviously I wouldn't go for this, but it's looking very likely. Rudiger or Ziyech could be my captain, and there you go. I don't want to captain Jimenez, not even Che Adams or Broja, Rafinha, the goalkeeper, Jose Sarr, Digne. I wouldn't want to captain any of these, really, but just to kind of sort this out, you know, and see who would be on the bench or whatever, it'd kind of be like this. So Saka, Broja, Digne would also come in. You could even say Son, maybe, on the bench, something like that. So that's a pretty good bench, actually. It's a shame that Arsenal aren't doubling in 28, because that was also a big reason why people wildcarded in 26. It was looking very likely. In the end, it was Chelsea-Norwich, which was always a possibility as well. But yeah, this looks pretty good, actually. So yeah, Ziyech and Rudiger would be captains with this -8. Why Ziyech over Mount? He's just showing much better form, and Mount is less nailed right now. He's kind of in and out of the team. So currently I prefer Ziyech. Obviously he's missing out today, but Mount, you know, don't discount him. It's just I do prefer Ziyech at the moment. Yeah, Sanchez to Sarr, fair enough. I think, yeah, I'd go for it, definitely, Golden Boys, if you can. Kilman, fair option, definitely. He's always a good option. I just prefer Saiss and Cody, but there's not really much in it. Sarr versus Saiss, Reguilon or De Gea out. I'd rather have Jose Sarr, yeah, out of the two, but they're both good. Let's see, what else do we have here? Thoughts on Broja to Adams? I wouldn't do that. If anything, double up on Southampton attack, which might seem a bit excessive, but I don't think that's a bad idea. I wouldn't go from Broja to Adams and vice versa. I don't think it's worth it. When is the best time to use bench boost? Game Week 36 is looking really good, if not Game Week 28, depending on how your team is set up. So right now, currently, those 2 game weeks look the best. Are Game Week 28 fixtures really that good? Not seeing much apart from the doubles, fixtures, and players can't be trusted. That's a good point. I mean, I think there's some good fixtures. So if you look at Southampton, they face Villa away and Newcastle at home. Decent, you know. Newcastle have improved a lot, so it's not as easy as it would have been maybe 5 or 10 weeks ago. But that's a good double. Wolves have a very good double as well. Crystal Palace and Watford. Yes, they both have improved defensively, so Vieira has definitely got them very well organised at the back for the whole season, and also Roy Hodgson with Watford for the most part. But yeah, I think that's a good double too. And if Chelsea face Burnley and Norwich, that's one of the best doubles as well. So I think there are some good doubles and fixtures, but I agree. Maybe in terms of the reliability of these players, maybe it's not that good. And thank you, by the way, for everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. It would be much appreciated. And obviously, it's a bit of a different time. And typically, it would be around 7 this stream. If not, it would have been yesterday around 7 potentially. But we've gone with this. And unfortunately, I'm not able to stream later. So I'm doing it now. And yeah, just get your questions in. This is kind of just obviously a reaction, first impressions of the double that could happen in 28, which is very likely, and also just everything that's going on. So looking now at Wolves versus Watford, I think, yeah, West Ham just won. West Ham are now in 5th place. Let's maybe obviously let me confirm that for sure. Yeah, 1-0, Thomas Soucek with the winner. Yeah, West Ham back in the top 4 race. Wolves kind of slowly drifting away, but you can't discount them just yet. This is looking pretty intriguing. So West Ham 2 points behind Man United, same amount of points. Arsenal 2 points behind 4th with 3 games in hand, and even Tottenham there 2 games in hand on 4th, and they are only 5 points behind. It's going to be very interesting, this top 4 race. Southampton now all the way up in 9th place, and even Leicester down in 13th, Newcastle up to 14th. This table is looking really crazy. Everton down in 17th, 1 point in front of Burnley. That is crazy. So let's go back to your questions, and you can obviously comment on what you think of these kind of transfers. It would be a -8. Harry likes it, so thank you very much, Harry. It's a possibility. It's not set in stone, though. Saiss or Rudiger? Has to be Rudiger, I think. But I wouldn't, just a kind of a word of caution for everyone. Do not make transfers just yet, because anything can happen. Wait until the FA Cup games are done midweek and then make your transfers. Don't do it just yet. We can have a good idea. Currently, I think Chelsea will have a double in 28. I think one of Chelsea or Norwich will go through to the next round in the FA Cup. And I think they're going to have a double. Therefore, I'd go for Rudiger. Good luck with the stream. We'll grab a bite. Yeah, fair enough. No problem, Lipuk. Thank you very much. Good luck and enjoy the final. Which 2 will you go for? Saka, Wood-Prowse, Martinelli, Maddison, Mount, Coutinho. Great question. I'd go for Saka and probably Coutinho out of the 2. Maybe long-term, you could argue Ward-Prowse is the best out of the lot, actually, potentially. Maddison also looks pretty good, especially for Game Week 30. Adams could be... Yeah, he could, definitely. I'm not denying that. It's just, if you have Breuer, would you sell him for Adams? I think maybe it's not a sideways move at the moment, but I would actually try to have both of them right now. Yeah, full-time West Ham 1-0 win. Oh, thank you, Andy, for the super chat. Much appreciated, mate. Prioritise Wolves, Arsenal to Chelsea 28-30. 4 game weeks versus 3 game weeks. That's exactly it. So Chelsea obviously have a game in 29. They blank in 30 most likely, and they have a double in 28. That's why I'd still prioritise Wolves and Arsenal that way. So you could argue Saiss is better than Rudiger still, but I don't know. I still like Rudiger long term. The fixtures are sensational, and Chelsea are still one of the best defences. So the way I'd go about it really is try to have more Wolves or Arsenal players, especially if you're not free hitting in 30, and then go for 1 or 2 Chelsea players instead. So maybe Rudiger and Ziyech, but don't go overboard and have a triple up and get rid of these Wolves and Arsenal players. But if you are insistent and you're going to use that free hit in Game Week 30, then maybe it makes more sense to get rid of Wolves and Arsenal players potentially. Not all of them. I still think they have good value, especially in 28 for Wolves. But yeah, that's kind of my assumption. So if you are free hitting in 30, then I think I agree. I would probably kind of prioritise Chelsea more so, because you don't really need to think about Game Week 30. But if you aren't free hitting in Game Week 30, then I would go for more Wolves and Arsenal players instead. So thank you very much, Andy, for the super chat there. But once again, this is under the assumption that Chelsea or Norwich go through to the next round, and therefore their game in Game Week 30 moves to Game Week 28. You never know in football. So it's just a really big assumption there. Let's see. Yeah, Bowen, Weghorst to Coutinho, Adams. Is that an upgrade or a side grade? That's a great word. I think it's an upgrade in Game Week 28. And Coutinho also plays in Game Week 30. Che Adams is a good option right now. Good form, great fixtures. So I think it's an upgrade. I like Weghorst and Bowen. You know, they're not suddenly bad options, but I think it's an upgrade in 28. Maybe not long term, you could say. Yep. 1-0 West Ham win. Yeah. Thank you, Sudindra. Yeah, not a big fan of that, but at least Wolves didn't get the clean sheet. And actually, if you guys want, I can tell you how my non-free hit team would have done compared to what I've got so far, which is 51 points. Saiso Rudiger. Yeah, I prefer Rudiger right now, but you also, once again, like I talked with Andy, it depends a lot on if you're free hitting in 30 or you're not. So that would play a big part. And also, just wait for the FA Cup games to be done. Then would have a full idea. This is obviously just a reaction stream. My first impressions. I could easily, obviously, the information will be updated. And I have to, obviously, change my opinion depending on the information. Do you think Jimenez will be benched for one game next game week? I don't think so. I personally don't think so, but it's a possibility. Yeah, Hamza. Force on 2 striker setup. Jared went for Coutinho numbers over the last 3 game weeks look quite poor. Yeah, he was a bit deeper yesterday, which is a bit concerning. I actually like the fact, so if we look at Leeds United, they conceded a lot of chances on their left flank. I mean, they conceded a lot of chances in general. So that bodes well for Digne and Coutinho. But now with Bielsa sacked, who knows what the new manager will do. And I think it's the former Leipzig manager, I think, from this season. So that will be interesting. But yeah. The thing I don't like about Coutinho is the fixtures, and he's still a decent choice. I like the double in 28, but there's not really too much other than the fact that he doesn't blank in 30. So I'm actually thinking of potentially going for a Chelsea midfielder instead. De Gea, Foden, Tierney, Cancelo worth a bench boost. That's a good bench. I think it is worth a bench boost, but you might have a better one in Game Week 36. So it ultimately just depends. And yeah, that's still a good bench. So Foden would play Man United. Tierney faces Watford. De Gea faces City. That's kind of the big... I wouldn't really expect a return from him, but the rest could do very well. Is Ziyech or Mount more nailed? Right now, I think Ziyech, but I'm not sure why he's not in the squad. So if anyone does see anything, let me know. I'm going to try search this. Obviously, kind of maybe one of the non-perks of streaming at this time is that we don't have the full information potentially of this. So I want to try find out why Ziyech... Yeah, he's not in the squad. Yeah, it must still be the injury. Yeah, Chelsea fans aren't happy with the lineup, so with Alonso starting and all of that, and Ziyech not starting. Yeah, Reece James obviously in the squad. We talked about that. Christensen misses out for a minor Achilles injury. Ziyech also misses out on making the squad. Yeah, I think it's just the knock he picked up against Lille, but yeah, it must be the injury. It must be the injury. Let's see. Obviously, yeah, what you see on screen is kind of a provisional -8, and I'd get Rudiger in for Robertson potentially, Ziyech in for Jared Bowen, and also Weghorst would make way for Che Adams. I'd be very happy with this team, but I'm also open to the idea of maybe going for Coutinho instead of Ziyech, or maybe Mason Mount. I'm open to these ideas too. I just like Ziyech's ownership and also his form. He reminds me a lot of Mahrez, but he's a bit more nailed currently. So let me know what you guys think of this. But the other possibility would be, so if you look here, in Game Week 29, by getting Newcastle players, maybe one of Joe Willock or say Maximan, I have doubles in 28 and 29. That's also a possibility, but I'm not that sure. I definitely wouldn't look to double up on Newcastle attack. I'm not a big fan there. But yeah, getting Joe Willock in does give me more money. I can keep Robertson, and up front, I could get Ollie Watkins, although I probably don't want to do that. Maybe just Che Adams. So this would look pretty decent as well, actually, and I can keep Robertson. But I love Rudiger in Game Week 28 if he has that double. He looks really good. Is Pukki a good option? I don't think he's a bad option, but there's better. I think Che Adams is better. I still think Broja is. Weghorst long term, and maybe a few others. So he's a good one. He's not bad, but I probably think there's better. Which keeper would be top of your list? Probably Ramsdale, because he doesn't blank in 30. He's got a double in 29. He's got good fixtures until the end of the season, really. So let me see. I'm quite behind in the chat, so apologies. I'm trying to, go up the stream and read from the things I missed out when I was going for other stuff. Mendy on a free hit. Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea, actually. But what I would do is go for Jose Sarr in goal. And in defence, go for double Chelsea. So go for Rudiger and Thiago Silva, assuming they have a double in 28. Yeah, Game Week 28, yeah, free hit is good. It's looking good now, definitely. The game was boring for me. Bowen and Sice blank, and I have 51 points with only Weghorst to play. Hopefully a grey arrow if the Burnley defenders stay quiet. Yeah, I'm going to show you now again my team currently. I've basically got the same as you. I've got 51 points with Weghorst captain and also Ben-Mee and Tarkowski. I'm hoping for at least a goal from the two. I'd be very happy with that, and I would consider the free hit successful, actually. Was this Game Week free hit a mistake? Oh, that's a good segue, actually. Game Week 28-29, yeah, I mean, That is not too bad, actually, free hitting in 28 or 29. But with what I did, wildcarding in 26, I think it makes sense to maybe triple captain in 29 and bench boost in 28. So I don't really regret it. And also, so right now I've got 51 points. I've gone up by around 10k. I'm going to try update the scores, actually, because, yeah, things have changed here. So let me get livefpl.net up. And yeah, you can see what we mean. So let me refresh this page. Sometimes this does take, sometimes the site crashes, but yeah, I was around 101k. I've gone up by around, what, 10,000 places, 11,000, which I'm quite happy with. If I didn't free hit, it would look really bad, and I'm going to check this now and confirm with you. I'm going to do a direct comparison. So I think it's a team-dependent question in terms of was the free hit a mistake. I personally don't think it was for my team, and I'm not trying to just justify it because I was still kind of a bit frustrated with what happened yesterday. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to get this up. So yeah, with the free hit, it would have been Jose Sa. So what did Jose Sa end up getting? Jose Sa got 3 points. 3 points, not too bad. So Sa got 3 points. Cody, what did Cody get? He would have been in my original team. Yeah, he got 2 points. Yeah, makes sense. So no yellows for him. 2 points. So that's 8. Then defense. Jeroboam blanked. I think he got 3 points, didn't he? But let me double check that. So yeah, let's see. So I have gone slightly down in rank now. So 106k. Not great. So actually I've only risen around 6,000 places currently, but I do have triple Burnley, so that could, you know, push me up, especially if there's some returns there. So let me update this for you. Yeah, I'm gonna just bear with me for a second. I'm gonna update my rank as well, and yeah, that will all be updated for you. So export. Here we go. And yeah, bear with me for a second. I'll try and get to your questions as well. But yeah. Let's go back to this team. So this is currently my Game Week 28 team. And as I always say, if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe for news. Much appreciated. And yeah, there's my updated score. So 106k. The scores remain the same, really. Now I'm comparing how I would have done without the free hit. Let me just check Jeroboam, actually. So Jeroboam, how many points did he get? He got 3, yeah. And Jimenez got 1. So yeah, actually... So this is what I would have done without the free hit. So, wow, that is looking very poor, actually. I would have got 31 points without the free hit, so I've gained 20 points. It's not a great game, but I would have definitely gone down in rank quite significantly. And this is bearing in mind Weghorst captain. I already had Son and Broja, but the other changes I made gave me 20 more points. So I'm quite happy with the free hit so far. And if me and Tarkovsky do the business, then we could be in business, basically, and I could get a 30-40 point game. You never know. So I'm actually quite happy with the free hit so far, but I think I can understand those who might be regretting it a little bit. Play Cancelo or Ramsey? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, Ramsey has the double. I probably would play Ramsey, but I don't want to bench Cancelo. Currently on 55 points with Weghorst captain and me left. That's good, Kobe. I think that's good. And obviously, I know I'm really far behind, by the way, in terms of the chat. So... yeah, Broja doesn't feel the same anymore. Yeah, I mean, he's still got similar stats to Che Adams, though. It's just Che Adams is in good goal-scoring form. How do we know you are live? I really enjoyed the content. I mean, I just read out your comments, so there you go. There's the proof, but thank you very much. Time to move off double City defence, Laporte to Cody for next week. Yeah, I probably would. And if not, go to a Chelsea defender. Hi, can you help to show wildcard? I'm going to be making a video, so I'll put more, obviously, time into making the best wildcard team in 28, and the same goes for a free hit team. By the way, should I do De Gea to Sarr or me to Saiss, Thiago Silva? I would actually rather... Look, they're both good. I'd maybe do a -8 Kobe and do both, but if I had to pick, I might actually go for the... Nah, that's really tough. I think both of them are worth it. I'd go for both. I'd do me to Thiago Silva and I'd get Sarr in for a -8. James is on the bench for Chelsea. Why not him over Rudiger? We'll have to wait and see how he comes back. Yeah, look, he's also another one. You could go for him instead, yeah. They're all good, but I want to wait and see first. which team's definitely playing Game Week 30? I can also show you that right now. So I think I had the Game Week 30 FPL.team thing. But Arsenal, Aston Villa, that's going to be a confirmed fixture. Let me also go through this. So I think we've got the right screen on here. Yeah, we do. So this is the Game Week 28 fixtures. It could also be Chelsea versus Norwich at the Canaries. So there we go. Game Week 30, it would be Wolves versus Leeds, Aston Villa against Arsenal, and Leicester against Brentford. And depending on the FA Cup, there could be another fixture or two. But those three fixtures, the first three you see on screen, those three are definitely happening in Game Week 30. So there you go. Bench boost that team, yeah, I'm looking to bench boost with either -4, -8, or even just one free transfer. Yeah, Ziyech knock, yeah, exactly, it's that. It's a big shame, and that's why I might not go for Ziyech in the end, but I do like the look of him. He's been good recently. Rodrigo an option? No. Rodrigo from City, definitely not, even though he's got superpowers to avoid blatant handballs. Rudiger's Chelsea's best option for double 28, definitely. I completely agree, Lee. Too short is as bad as Pep in midfield rotation, yeah. I agree. Even in central midfield with Kante, Kovacic and Jorginho, that's still the case. Who to captain in 28? Rafinha, Son, Broja or Jimenez? Out of those, I mean, Son has only a single game week. I'm not a big fan of any of them. Maybe Jimenez, and if not, just go for the single game week and go for Salah or Son. Force on Trippier for the double game weeks. He's not a bad choice. I mean, he was missing out recently through injury, but yeah, he's not a bad one. Willock as well, same Maximan. What about Chelsea? I've literally been talking about them all stream. Bowen a sell now? I think it makes sense anyway because he's got Liverpool and some pretty poor fixtures. Probably doesn't have a fixture in Game Week 30, no doubles, so I think it's worth selling, yeah. I like St. Maximin, but I don't think he is fit. Yeah, it's a bit concerning, you know. People expected him to be back against Brentford and it wasn't the case. Wildcard 28, bench boost 29. Yeah, I think for those who haven't wildcarded already, that's a good strategy. I'm not a big fan of the bench boost in 29, but if you set it up right, it could be good. And there's also bench boost 36 should I say. Game Week 30 definitely don't bench boost. Should I sell Robertson for Chelsea defenders? I'm kind of in a similar predicament. I don't think you need to, but it's also a possibility. If you can make really good upgrades in your midfield and attack, then yes, I'd go for it. But Robertson's one of the best defenders in the game right now, so it's quite hard for me to say that. Is 103 team value okay? Yes, it's okay. It's not great. I've got around the same as you, pretty much. Some people have like 105, 106, 107, so they can build insane squads with Son, Kane and Salah. But yeah, that's kind of a different story. I still think it's decent. Play Cancelo or Coutinho? I mean, Coutinho's a double. I'd go for him. Salah will play Game Week 30 and their opponents is Leeds. Yeah. I'm actually looking to play Jose Sarr over Ramsdale. I've got both, so yeah. Bowen to Mount or Coutinho? I think maybe Mount because of the longer term fixtures for Chelsea, but I'm concerned about rotation with Mount. And with Coutinho, I prefer his double in 28, or at least his chances of starting both and doing well in that double. I want to buy Coutinho. Should I sell Bowen or Bernardo? It's tough. I still prefer Bowen over Bernardo, but maybe it makes sense to keep Bernardo for now, sell Bowen, and then get rid of Bernardo. I still prefer Bowen, so I'd sell Bernardo, honestly. Are you doing FPL next season? Yeah, I am probably doing FPL next season. Obviously, I'll confirm at the end. But in terms of the team I just showed you, it's FPL.team. The website is FPL.team. Cancelo, Bowen to Rudiger and Havertz? Yes, I think that's pretty good, actually. And if Ziyech is fit in time for 28, I would prefer him over Havertz. I barely got 9 points over my non-free hit team. Really need Verkhorst or Burnley clean sheet. Yeah, I can see what you mean. I'm a bit luckier because I got like a 20-point gain. It's still not great though, because sometimes with a free hit you could get 30, 40, 50-point gain. But maybe it's a bit rare. Reece James on the bench for the final. Yeah, no, with him being on the bench, that's quite encouraging. I think based on Tuchel's comments in like the press conferences earlier, it was kind of, hinted that he would be on the bench because he was saying, if common sense prevails, if logic prevails, he's not going to play him and risk it because he's just come back from a lengthy injury. Hi Dylan, kindly advise on the best chip strategy. I have a free hit and bench boost. Well, if you have wildcarded just now, it depends on that when you wildcarded, but I would probably look to bench boost in 28 if you're well set up for that in 28. If not, maybe Game Week 36 and use the free hit in Game Week 30 potentially, or there's still Game Week 28. It just ultimately depends on when you wildcarded. So let me know. And also your team. That's really a big thing. It's a team-dependent thing. That's what's more interesting about it. And with all these doubles and blanks, I think everyone's got different chip strategies and ways of playing it. Is this the defence for a wildcard? Seiss, Trent, Kyle Walker-Peters, Cancelo and Rudiger? Or play Chelsea double defence with Rudiger and Thiago Silva? Yes, I think that's a really good defence actually. I like it a lot. Yeah, and you can go for Ramsdale in goal. I like that defence quite a lot. It could be what I end up doing in my best wildcard team. Maybe 1 or 2 changes, but that looks really good. It also depends on how much team value you have, how it compromises your midfield and attack, but that's good. I want to buy Coutinho. Yeah, I already answered this question, mate. I'd probably sell Bernardo because I prefer Bowen. Yeah, terrible game week. It kind of has been. I'm just quite happy that Kane, Son got the points, FPL-wise anyway. And also Forster, he got the clean sheet. And what else? Cancelo, I didn't have in my normal team, so I got quite a lot of points from that. Yeah, I already answered that question, the 2K Viper. So Arsenal, Aston Villa, they definitely don't, or should I say, they definitely play. Wolves, Leeds, and Leicester, Brentford. So basically the first 3 fixtures you see on screen, all of those teams have a fixture in 30. The rest is open and up to what happens in the FA Cup. Thoughts on my wildcard draft: Sarr, Foster, Rudiger, Trent, Livramento, White, Kilman, Saka, Coutinho, Salah, Ziyech, Willock, Kane, Rodrigo, Adams. I like it a lot. The players I don't like too much is Rodrigo, because we just don't know what they're going to be like under the new manager. Although he has shown some good form, especially that really good goal he scored against United it was. Livramento, I don't think he's that nailed. If you can, I'd go to Kyle Walker-Peters instead, if you want to go there. Kilman, my preference is Cody or Seiss, but that's fine, you know, and it also depends on your budget. With your midfield, you've got, yeah, that's really good. I prefer Son, but because you already have Kane, I think it makes sense, and I probably wouldn't change much in your midfield, if anything. What you have to bear in mind, though, with your wildcard is you're going to bench some of these players. You can't bench boost. Remember, for anyone who doesn't know, you can't use 2 chips in the same week. So you might have a very strong bench, and it might be a case of you being frustrated with it. But in terms of a wildcard team, how good it is long-term, I really like it, and I think you're well set. In terms of Game Week 30, you're probably going to have to free hit, but you might have 2 in the bank, so that's fine. But yeah, Livramento, Rodrigo, and maybe White. Those 3 players, I'd say, try to improve on if possible, but that's still a really good team. Okay, so if I was to take a -8, my transfer plans are to do De Gea to Sarr, Robertson to Thiago Silva, and Bowen to Ziyech. Would sell me, but can't afford to bring in Silva. Fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and just bear in mind, or wait for the Ziyech news ahead of Game Week 28 before making that move. But yeah, I think that looks good, Kobe. I'm just a bit concerned about getting rid of Robertson, but I might do something similar to you. Is it worth doubling out defence for Liverpool this week, 28? Is it worth doubling out? Oh, defence. Oh, for Liverpool defence in Game Week 28. Yeah, I think so. It's West Ham, but yeah, I think it's worth it. But if you are wildcarding right now, you probably would favour going for double Chelsea defence instead. Would you consider Silva? Yes, I am considering him. He's cheaper than Rudiger. Yeah, earlier in the season he wasn't as nailed as he is now, but yeah, I think he's very appealing. 0.5 million difference. I think he's definitely a very appealing option. Also, Reece James, who's now on the bench in the Carabao Cup final, who definitely plays in Game Week 30. I already answered the question, mate. Semedo to Thiago Silva, Bone to Rafinha, Veckles to Che Adams, worth a -8. Yes, I think it is. That's a really good set of transfers. I like that. I have a wildcard, a free, and a bench boost. Can you suggest a wildcard team? There's going to be a video on it. I'm going to be breaking it down, so check that out in the next few days. Also, a free hit team, so that will be coming. Best midfielders to buy under 8 million. I still think Rafinha's up there, but I'd say Ziyech if he's fit. Coutinho, more so for Game Week 28 and 30 though. Saka, still a really good option long term. Bowen has been really good this season, but I might be kind of deviating away from him because of the lack of doubles, no game in 30 as well. So I'd go for one of those instead. What to do with Watkins now? Do you think he's a keep? That he scored finally, but I'm still not a big fan. The thing is, he has a double right now, so it's hard to sell him. So I'd keep him for 28 and then possibly look to sell. But then you've also got Game Week 30. It just seems like you can never get rid of him. But if you're free hitting in 30, I'd probably look to get rid of Watkins in 29 because the fixtures turn for Aston Villa. Hassan says my team for 28. So yeah, I have my wildcard and bench boost left. I don't think you necessarily need to wildcard right now, so that's fine. Yeah, you've got your bench boost. You could bench boost that team, but Smith-Rowe might not even start. Emerson might not even start as well because Doherty did extremely well there against Leeds. Also, Jarrod Bowen faces Liverpool. So yeah, honestly, I wouldn't bench boost this week and I wouldn't wildcard Hassan. But that's a good team. Would you go for Rafinha with the Bielsa news now? It's a bit tricky because if you have enough money, I would rather go for Coutinho this week or even go for Ziyech if he's fit. But yeah, he's still really good, I think. Yeah, I think he's a good option, and he might be even better now that Bielsa's gone. I mean, it's quite hard to say that. Start Antonio Weghorst this week. That's really tough. Probably neither if possible, and maybe I'd get rid of Antonio and get someone else in. A double gameweek player, maybe Che Adams, Genius Game. I'd do that instead. Is Pulisic Mount a good option if Ziyech is still injured? Yes. I'm not a big fan of Pulisic though. He's injury prone. He's less nailed than Mount even. I'd probably get rid of... Well, not even get rid of. I wouldn't go for Pulisic. I'm not sure if he's a big option long term. Yeah, 8 Nuri bench. That's the problem with him, you know. Really good value when he starts. Great performance against Arsenal the other day, but he's not going to start every game. Yeah, great question. First thoughts for captaincy in 28. I think Rudiger or a Chelsea player if they have the double. So if Chelsea or Norwich progress in the FA Cup, definitely I'd go for a Chelsea player and probably Rudiger. So that's kind of the Game Week 30 fixtures. I already answered that question. So now back to my team here in 28. I've shown you my plans for 20 and 29 potentially. There's quite a few different avenues I can explore and look to bench boost in 28. But you also have to think about Game Week 30, what you're going to do there. Are you free hitting or not? That is very crucial as well. I'm going to show you some statistical comparisons very soon as well. Yeah, in terms of wildcard team, there's going to be a video on it, yeah. Ziyech not injured, just a minor, not coming back soon. Yeah, that's why I'm very looking much forward to bringing him in potentially for Game Week 28, yeah. Mount nailed. I don't think he's completely nailed. He's a good option though. I think I'd rather go for Ziyech though if he comes back in time. Who's the best replacement for Cancelo and Bowen? For Cancelo, it's Rudiger, and for Bowen, I'd probably look towards either Ziyech, Coutinho. If you're looking kind of long term, then I'd say Saka as well. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. So now let me know what you guys think of these different stats and players. So first up is a comparison between Coutinho and Ziyech. Not many people are talking about this right now, but with the double for Chelsea in 28 against Norwich, that is very likely to happen. This is going to be a very big question. If you don't have Coutinho or Ziyech, I think I'd break it down very simply and kind of similar to what I did with Andy earlier with the Super Chat. Obviously, much appreciated. Thank you very much for that. So looking at this, I think if you are free hitting in Game Week 30, then I would rather go for Ziyech because you don't need to have an Aston Villa player to cover Game Week 30 because you're free hitting. And also, Chelsea have the better fixtures long term. Ziyech is in really good form. But if you aren't free hitting in Game Week 30, Coutinho is a really good way of covering that game week, as well as having a double, a very good one in 28. So I probably would. At the moment, I mean, I'm leaning more towards Ziyech anyway. And I just find a way to maybe go with 9 or 10 players. Don't go for Coutinho, and that's it. Coutinho hasn't looked too great in recent weeks, and quite a lot of blanks, playing in a deeper role. If we look at them statistically, in the last 6 games that both of them are featured in, 2 goals and 2 assists for Coutinho, 3 goals for Ziyech, no assists. In terms of creativity, Ziyech actually has slightly better underlying numbers. 3 big chances created compared to Coutinho's 2, and his XA is 1.64 compared to Coutinho's 1.3. Both decent. XG as well, they're identical. They're pretty much exactly the same. In terms of shots in the box, Coutinho's better. Shots overall, Ziyech just a little bit more. Same with shots on target. And key passes, Coutinho leads. So honestly, this is really tough. If you're looking at the underlying numbers, they're both pretty much bang on. Very similar. And it's just a question of who do you prefer. Ziyech is in better form and also plays in a better team. Really good long-term fixtures. But he's also got a knock. Let's see how he's going to be nursed back in ahead of Game Week 28 or 29 whenever he comes back. But if he's available for 28 and Chelsea have that double against Burnley and Norwich, I think I would favour Ziyech. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Who would you go for out of the two? Should we get rid of Weghorst this week? Look, I like Weghorst long term, but yes, I think it is a good possibility to go off him. Maybe go for Che Adams. Really good long-term fixtures and a double in 28. I think, yeah, you could do that. Havertz could be an option. Yeah, definitely. I still would go for Rudiger though, or Reece James, or maybe even Ziyech if he's fit. But yeah, that's not a bad one. Gordon Boys puts his team for 28. That's good. And yeah, Edouard on the bench, that makes sense. That's a good team. I probably wouldn't bench boost that. And I don't think you need to wildcard. You probably used it anyway, but that's a good team. That's looking pretty well poised there. Do you think Aïnouri will start the next game week? Yes, I think so. I think he's the first choice left wing back. He's the best one that Wolves have. I think he's even better than Semedo on the right hand side. But there's going to be the occasional game week where he's benched or rotated. I mean, Wolves have a double, so he could start one and then be benched for the other. The games are quite winnable for Wolves. But yeah, I think he will start next game week. What's more essential, a Chelsea defender or mid? Defender for sure for me. With the midfield, as people said earlier, I think Ben was one of them. There's just so much rotation with the midfield and attack. With the defence, it's kind of more nailed on. Rudiger, for example, easy set and forget. Reece James when he's fully fit. Yeah, I agree, Golden Boys. I'd go for Ziyech. Thank you very much. Do you think Silva is okay? Yes, I do. I'm going to show you him very soon compared to Rudiger. And that's going to be another big question. Coutinho will have some fun with Leeds. I mean, he got 16 points against them the last time he faced them, which was only a few weeks ago. Coutinho versus Ziyech could also consider by who's the better team. Who's in the better team since both of them are the main playmaker. Yeah, exactly. Coutinho is more of a talismanic figure for Aston Villa, but yeah, it's really close, I think. I just prefer Ziyech because of the long-term fixtures, and also the double in 28 could be fantastic. He's also in very good form, but I'm not discounting Coutinho. I might still go for him myself, especially because I'm probably not looking to free in 30 because of how my team is set up. Robertson or Rudiger, that's another good comparison. Let me actually show you now. Rudiger versus Thiago Silva, but that's also another one we could do. So if we look here, I think Rudiger is better statistically. He's got more big chances, more key passes, shots in the box, shots overall. Goals, Thiago Silva leads by one more. But in terms of goal contributions in general, Rudiger has one more, 5 compared to 4 for Thiago Silva. But Rudiger has played 3 more games. But yeah, I think both of them are really good. And with Thiago Silva being more nailed now, I think if you can't afford Rudiger, just go for Thiago Silva. Or even Reece James, he could also look pretty good. Let me just double check Reece James's price. Yeah, he's 6.2 million now. So not too bad. He is the most expensive, unfortunately. But there was that period, I think, what was it? Game week 9 to 12. Jesus. He was on a mad one. 13, 21, 7 and 12 points. That was crazy. Yeah, but there you go. I mean, all of them are capable of great things here. And I think I'll do that as well, actually. So Rudiger and Thiago Silva very similar, but Rudiger edges it statistically. Both of them offer great value for money. A lot of goal threat as well. Let me put Rudiger versus Robertson for you lot as well, because that's going to be a really popular option. Robertson out for Rudiger. That's going to be pretty good. But yeah, there's only going to be one winner here, but Robertson's much more expensive. That's the problem. But yeah, in terms of XA, Robertson, the clear victor. In terms of goal threat or goals, Rudiger will be better as well. More shots in the box, more goals, more shots, even on target, better XG. But Robertson, his creativity is insane. 10 FPL assists this season is mind-boggling. And to think that he had a pretty poor start to the season, you could argue. I mean, just look at this. A good double, I think, in 29 from a defensive point of view. I think Liverpool could keep clean sheets at the Emirates and the Amex, so that's not too bad. But if you look at the fixtures long-term and the potential double in 28 for Chelsea, I think Rudiger might be better value for money. But there's also the question of Robertson versus Trent. Maybe keep Robertson the differential and sell Trent, but I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. I wish I could have all of them, but unfortunately, we've got a budget cap. Should we get Rudiger for Cancelo this week? Yes, I think so. Honestly, I would. Yeah, I'm going to do a wildcard video. Yep, I will. In the next few days. James' price is dropping. Yeah, which would be a bit weird, though, if it actually drops now with him being on the bench, but it's still possible, yeah. Mount versus Ziyech. Yeah, that's also a good comparison. I'm going to show you that very soon, actually. Some good suggestions in the chat. My 11 for Game Week 28 after one free transfer. That's pretty good. What was your transfer there, Terho? But that's a good team. I like it, yeah. That's pretty good. Planning to sell King, Cornet and Bone very soon. Yeah, I probably would do the same thing, Waiting, yeah. Thiago injured in the warm-up. Wow, thank you very much for that, Lee. Wow, that's a big shame for Liverpool. Looking at what's happening at the moment, I'd actually lean more towards Chelsea right now. But before all the news, I was actually kind of more Liverpool. But yeah, I think I have a feeling Chelsea are going to win. I don't know why. And I'm not sitting on the fence. I'm not going to be like, well, I originally thought Liverpool were going to win. Now I thought Chelsea, so I got it right. I actually think Chelsea. So if Liverpool end up winning, I got it wrong. But just based on the news, Thiago getting injured in the warm-up, Alisson not starting, which is obviously to be expected if you look at the whole competition. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. I just have a feeling Chelsea could edge it. I think Liverpool are the better team, but Chelsea are a very good cup team as well. And then yeah, let's see. I mean, yeah, look at this run for Chelsea, by the way. So in 28, they can face Burnley and Norwich away, very likely. Newcastle at home in 29. No fixture in 30, because that Norwich fixture will be moved from 30 to 28. Game week 31, Brentford at home, Southampton away, Leeds away, West Ham at home, Everton away, Wolves at home, United away, Watford at home, And then 2 fixtures yet to be confirmed, Arsenal at home and Leicester at home. These are really good fixtures, really. United and Arsenal are the toughest ones left. The rest, you could argue, are quite easy for Chelsea from a defensive point of view. It's a really good run, honestly, for Chelsea. It's fantastic. I think it's worth taking hits and even getting rid of someone like Robertson. So let me do that comparison quickly. So I showed you Ziyech versus Coutinho. Let's put Mason Mount as well. I might show you the stats over the course of the season. So yeah, Mason Mount hasn't played too much recently. We could show the last 6 games. Yeah, so last 6 games, Mount not too great actually, and Ziyech is superior statistically. In terms of big chances though, Mount has 1, Ziyech has 0. Ziyech loves to score a banger, doesn't he? But yeah, there you go. I think Ziyech would look the more appealing option if you look at recent form. Key passes though, Mount has double. If we look over the entire season though, which is obviously a different matter entirely, I think Mount would definitely be the clear victor there. Yeah, the XG is pretty decent, the XA as well. 7 big chances to Ziyech's 1. Big chances created, key passes, all of that Mount wins. Goal contribution, 7-7. Shots, everything. So that looks pretty good. More appearances though, more minutes. In recent weeks though, I would argue Ziyech is more nailed and in better form. But let me know what you guys think of Mount versus Ziyech. That is an interesting one. Let me just change this as well. But yeah, that's a tough one. That is a pretty tough one as well. I think we shouldn't discount Mount. Yeah, Mount not 100% nailed. I agree. Which is a bit of a shame actually. I think under Lampard he definitely would have been. Van Dijk to Rudiger for a -4. I actually would do that, Mirza. I would do that. Yes, definitely true. Obviously, it's a good idea. I mean, look at those fixtures until the end of the season. Definitely. Semedo to Thiago Silva, Bone to Rafinha, Veckles to Che Adams. Yes, Hosper, it's worth a -8 and a bench boost, definitely. Which teams are sure to play? I already answered that question, Lookman. So, Arsenal Leeds. It's basically Arsenal versus Aston Villa, Leicester against Brentford, and also Wolves versus Leeds. All of those 6 teams are not blanking in 30. Yeah, there could be like a little watch along. I'm going to be a bit behind anyway. The game's already started, so I've got it up here on a separate tab. Don't want to be copyright or anything, so yeah. So I'm going to have it on screen here. Yeah, I've got the volume off just in case. No copyright or anything. Let me just double check. Yeah, so you can obviously spoil it or anything. The problem I have with watch-alongs if I'm watching Arsenal is because I'm watching on a stream, I'm going to be behind and people are going to spoil it, and I'd rather obviously enjoy the moment and stuff. But sometimes I hear the stadium anyway because I'm quite close. So that's another thing to think about. But yeah, in terms of this, I don't mind if you spoil it, honestly. So that's fine. Let me just double check something because YouTube sometimes flag my videos for some reason. Oh god. Yep, no, they've done it again, yeah. I got no idea why. Let me just try to sort this out. Alright, so yeah, there we go. That's sorted, hopefully. Yeah, I'll go back to your questions. Morris to Maddison. I'd still rather go for a Chelsea midfielder or maybe Coutinho, etc. But Maddison's a good option too. In Gameweek 30 looks fantastic, actually. Who's the most nailed midfielder for Chelsea? That's the problem. I don't think there's actually a most nailed midfielder. I think currently, when Ziyech is fully fit, he's one of the more nailed ones. He's in great form, but that could easily change. Thiago Silva injured in the warm-up. Are you serious? Okay, then I have no idea, honestly. If Thiago Silva's actually... Let me just check. So I can see Tuchel and Klopp right now on screen. Wait, so did Thiago Silva start the game or not? Oh yeah, I just saw the video of Thiago. Yeah, that's crazy. But what about Thiago Silva? Did he actually start the game? That is crazy. How are two key players, both of them called Thiago, both of them injured in the war? That is actually crazy. Yeah, no, he probably didn't start, did he? Wow, that's... Let's see. Get rid of Trent, Robertson or Cancelo for Rudiger. Cancelo. I'd get rid of Cancelo, Smoke. As a Chelsea fan, I'll say Havertz and Ziyech is 90% nailed if they're fit. Yeah, I think on current form, I'd agree with saying. Digne or Kyle Walker-Peters. If I go Digne, it's easier to go without Coutinho and go with Hakim Ziyech. The thing I like about Digne is he has a good double in 28 and he doesn't blank in 30. Southampton could actually blank in 30, that's the problem, but their fixtures are really good long term. They're actually a better team than Aston Villa at the moment. I prefer Kyle Walker-Peters, but if you are not free hitting in 30, then I'd consider Digne. But if Mount, Havertz, they'll be super explosive. Yeah, they could be. I mean, Mount, I remember people were saying, even including myself, they're not really an explosive player, and then they get like 20 plus points or whatever it was against Norwich. What are your thoughts about bringing in Gordon for Game Week 29? That's not a bad shout. As a fifth midfielder, other than Ramsey, I think Gordon's one of the better ones around that price. My team, that's good, Abdul. That's a good team. Finding ways to improve it? No, not really. That's a free hit, I'm guessing, but that's a good team. Yeah, Thiago Silva's playing, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Liverpool's Thiago got injured during the warm-up. Yeah. It's just I saw a comment that said Thiago Silva injured in the warm-up. Who to remove from Mahrez and Bowen? If I remove Mahrez, then I will have 10.4 million. And if I remove Bowen, then I'll have 8.5 million. Other midfielders are Coutinho, Salah, and Ward-Prowse. Obviously, Mahrez would give you more money. He's not nailed, so it's tough. I'd actually get rid of Mahrez first. Bowen is still a good option. Ultimately, you can get rid of both of them, Mustafa, but I'd get rid of Mahrez first. Why Ziyech didn't play in this game against Liverpool? It's just that knock I think he had against Lille or something he picked up in training. But he could be back fairly soon. As Wei Seng said, obviously I would do more research as well and clarify that. Yeah, he started, fair enough. I actually haven't been able to watch the game too much because I'm reading the chat as well. Semedo to Cody or Livramento? I prefer Cody. I mean, Livramento, I don't think he's that nailed. Parod could get some games, especially in Game Week 28. It could be one game for each. Yeah, Pulisic almost scored. Yeah, I'm going to check it now. I'm probably going to see... Oh, I just saw it now. Yeah. Wow. Crazy. And Marcus Alonso having a shot, yeah, over the bar. I'm a bit behind, as you can tell. My free transfer will probably be Cancelo to Rudiger. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that's a good transfer. I'd do the exact same in your situation, mate. If you had people draw his voice, you know it'd be a good game. No, exactly. No, he's a great commentator. I saw he did it in the Arsenal Wolves game. Really good commentator. One of the best around right now. Yeah, well, I just saw the chance again. That would have been an Azpilicueta assist. He should have buried that. Pulisic, I don't know. His finishing's a bit iffy. I know he's on his left foot, but I don't know. He should be burying that. But yeah, let me know if you've got any more questions or comments. Obviously, this is kind of a bit of a shorter stream. I'm not able to do one later on, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would have been later on. But thank you to everyone who decided to tune in anyway today. It's much appreciated. And yeah, let's go through. I think we had one more comparison to go through. Yeah, Reece James against Alonso. I think this is going to be a very straightforward one. Yes, Alonso's cheaper, but he's not as nailed. I think once Reece James is fully fit and available, just go for him instead. 6.2 million. 4 goals and 5 assists in 16 games is very good. And just if you look at all the stats, he's better than Alonso in every single department, even though Alonso has got more appearances. I just go for Reece James. This is a bit of a simpler one. I think the big questions this week is Coutinho versus Ziyech, free hit in Game Week 30 or no free hit. Do you free in 28? Do you bench boost? I think those are the main questions. And also, do you get rid of Robertson for Rudiger? I think that's the main thing. Also, the captaincy. I think I'd mainly go towards a Chelsea player. I don't like the double game weekers really for the captaincy this week. So that's why I can agree why some people think, you know what, it's not really maybe a great time to maybe get these players in. Yeah, Jota's on the bench. Yeah. Sudindra puts his team. What transfer should I make, Dylan? I'd honestly get rid of Mahrez. So basically, to kind of sum it up, I'd get rid of Mahrez, Davis, and Bowen. Weghorst is another one, but yeah, Cancelo's another one too, actually. So I do Cancelo to Rudiger, Sudindra. I do... It's tough, isn't it? I do Bowen to Ziyech or Coutinho, one of these names we talk about today. Obviously, wait, don't make these transfers yet. And maybe Davis you could get rid of for Kyle Walker-Peters. That's another one. And yeah, Mahrez could become one of the other midfielders I just mentioned. But it also depends if you're free hitting in 30 or not. Even if it's a -8 or a -12, I think it could be worth it this week. Best midfielder to get, I have Salah, Coutinho, Ward-Prowse, Mahrez and Bowen. Who to remove? I'd remove Mahrez or Bowen, Mustafa. Probably Mahrez first because of the value, and also at least Bowen starts every game. With Mahrez, he doesn't. So I'd get rid of Mahrez. It could obviously backfire if he starts against United, but that's kind of the risk you have to take. Yeah, 10.4 million, that is tough because I'd say Son, but you know, you don't have enough money for that. So I would probably look towards... That's tough. I'd go for Ziyech. If he's fit in 28, Ziyech. Yes, Chelsea are pretty much always going to have a double game week, but there's the odd possibility that both Chelsea and Norwich get knocked out and they have a fixture in 30. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, James is on the bench. Yes. And also I think I think James is just a better option than Alonso. But what I mean by fully fit is because he's not in the squad right now because he's not fully fit. That's what I mean. So it might take a week or two to build that fitness up, and it just depends. But if Reece James is in optimal condition, he's a great choice in 28. Sarr is taking Alonso's spot. Spilicueta could play left wing back too. That's the problem. And also Hudson-Odoi can sometimes play that. So yeah, it's just too many issues there. I wouldn't go for Alonso. Best Newcastle assets: Joe Willock. I think Saint-Maximin if he's fit, Dubravka and Trippier. Those would be my top 4. You could go for a Fraser, but I think those 4 is where it's at, and I wouldn't really overcomplicate it too much. Thank you, Cylindra. Much appreciated as well. But yeah, this game should be interesting as well. Still 0-0, and it's actually really peak about... quite surprising, actually, about Thiago being injured in the warm-up. But there you go. But yeah, let me know if you've got any more questions or comments, and then we'll probably wrap up. It's just a shorter stream because I wasn't able to do one later on, unfortunately. Yeah, in terms of the quick wildcard squad, I'll probably just leave it for a video. And I already earlier on talked about some of the main players on the wildcard. I could do one quickly, but it's probably going to change in the actual wildcard team video. So let's go here. We'll go to this. And here we go. So on a wild card, I probably would look towards Jose Sarr in goal, and you could just go for Foster. You don't need maybe a second goalkeeper as much. The thing is, I prefer Ramsdale over Sarr, but what I like is he has a double in 28 and he doesn't blank in 30. But you could just go for Ramsdale. If I had to pick, I'd probably actually look. I really like Sarr, but maybe I'd go for Ramsdale instead. I don't know, and I've also got more money tied up in Ramsdale, so actually get more money from this, which could be really important. So yeah, Ramsdale or Sarr, I'd go in goal. That's kind of one for you to decide. Then in defence, I'd go for one Wolves defender, Cody, 8 Nuri or Saiss. I'd go for Cody, kind of in between both of them in terms of the value, and also good bonus points. He's the most nailed. I'd go for Cody. I'd go for Trent. I really like Robertson. Look, it's between you, Trent or Robertson. Pick one. I'd get rid of Cancelo on the wildcard too. I'd go for Rudiger. Obviously, let's wait and see if they actually end up having the double. They probably will. Digne, look, I don't like Aston Villa's defence, but he has a fixture in 30, and that's also something else you have to factor in. So I'd go for something like this. Let me just get rid of some of these players. So yeah, maybe Weghorst out, Jared Bowen out. I'd go for something like this actually. Broja. Yeah, I think I'll go for Adams. I'll go for Adams there in the attack. Joe Willock in midfield, I think I'd go for. You could go for Jacob Ramsey too. I don't think that's a bad option. Oof, this is quite tough. And some people might have more money than me, so you could make this team even better. Let's see, so how much money would you have with Robertson as well? Because I really like this, actually. That's not too bad, actually. Yeah, then 6 million, you can just go for a Digne or whoever. That's not too bad. And maybe double Chelsea defence, but then you're missing out maybe on a Ziyech or something like that. I'd probably go for Ziyech over Rafinha, assuming he's fit in time for the games. 5.2 million. I'd go for something like this as a quick wildcard draft. Let me know. You can rip it apart, by the way. It's not perfect. It's just something I've come up on the spot. Instead of Jimenez, you can go for someone cheaper, perhaps. But yeah, this is not too bad. If Saint-Maximin's fit, I would consider him over Jimenez, potentially. But this isn't too bad, I think. Jose Sarr instead of Ramsdale, I think most people would do that. You can go for double Chelsea defence as well. But yeah, that's kind of something I would do. Thank you very much for the super chat, Darshan. Much appreciated. Thinking to free hit in 29, triple Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs with Gordon and Richarlison have only 4 doublers, but now 11. I think that could be worth it because with a free hit, you're looking to gain maybe 30 plus points if possible. I think you could easily do that if you're going from 4 double game weekers to 11. So I think, yes, that could be a possibility. Most people would free hit in 28 or 30. So that's kind of a differential. But my key, piece of advice or just opinion is don't just do it for the sake of being different. If you think it's right for your team, then go for it. You've got 2 free hits and bench boost left. Yeah, that might be a good idea actually. And you can bench boost either in 28 or in 36. That's what I look to do, but that looks pretty good. Your Carabao Cup final predictions. I thought Liverpool would win. But with Thiago being I don't know. I just got a feeling now about Chelsea. So I'm going to go with Chelsea 2-1. But who knows? Beforehand, I was backing Liverpool more so. So I've kind of changed my mind based on what happened in the warm-up and all of that. Chelsea double in 28 if one of Chelsea or Norwich win an FA. Yes, exactly. And that's why I think it's pretty much going to happen, but there's still the odd chance it doesn't. Play Ramsdale or Foster? Ramsdale. I'd still go for Ramsdale, even with a single game week. Ronaldo to Kane or Lacazette? Kane. Yeah, I'd go for Kane. Both Ramsdale and Sarr, if you can afford it, yes, I'd go for both. Am I not watching the final? I've got it like kind of on the side, but I'm mainly looking at the chat, and that's covering most of my screen. So, yeah, maybe Liverpool playing much better. I literally have no idea because I'm trying to answer the questions, but yeah. Is Ziyech nailed? I wouldn't say he's completely nailed, but in recent weeks he's in good form and he's been starting the majority of games, so I think he's one of the more nailed ones, along with Havertz potentially, but that could easily change. And Mason Mount, over the course of the season or in the last few years, tends to be the most nailed of the kind of attacking midfielders in FPL. Should I get Cody or Kilman? I'd go for Cody, but both are fine, Manish, honestly. They're both fine. And once again, thank you, Darshan, for the super chat. Much appreciated. And Sharia, let me know what you think of this quick wildcard draft. And with Digne, I'm not a big fan of Aston Villa defence. And really, it's just a question of, are you free hitting in game week 30 or not? That also plays a part. And that would kind of influence your final team. But I'd really love it, if possible, to go for double Chelsea defence too. And also keep Robertson if possible. That would be great. One thing you could do actually is go for this guy. Let me get this guy up. Let's go for Walker Peters in defence. This would look pretty good. If you have enough money, go for Jose Sarr and Ramsdale, although you don't need to. And you could argue that's too much money in your goalkeepers. But yeah, this looks pretty decent actually. Walker Peters in defence. Broja and Adams up front. Maybe too many eggs in the Southampton basket, but there you go. I already wildcarded Christian in Game Week 26. Otherwise, I'd probably look to wildcard in 28 or 31. I'm actually looking to bench boost in 28. What I'm looking right now is just a quick wildcard draft. I might change it when I do the best wildcard team video, when I have more time to think about it and also try different possibilities. I might even actually do a thing where I talk about those who free hit in 30. I'd have a wildcard team for them, and those who aren't free hitting. So kind of different possibilities. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Everyone's team is different, so I don't think necessarily there's kind of one set way of going about it. I have subs, nice stream, hope to see more of your content. Thank you, Simon. And yeah, we tend not to stream around at the same time as a game, but there you go. Yeah, unfortunately I'm not able to stream later on, but yeah, we typically do reaction streams at 7 PM on a Saturday or a Sunday, and also in terms of the deadline stream, it's an hour or two before the actual deadline. I'm also bench boosting in 29. Fair enough, yeah. I'm looking to bench boost in 28, but yeah, maybe that's what you meant, but that's fine anyway. Bench boost in 29 is a good idea if you're wildcarding in 28, I think. I'm just not a big fan of doing so myself because my team is more optimized for bench boosting in 28. All it requires is a -4 or even possibly a -8. Mount is starting in the cup final. Surely he's the better option. The reason why Ziyech isn't starting is because he's injured, pretty much. Otherwise, he would have started. Look, yeah, Mount is a good option, and over the course of the season, he's been better than Ziyech. But in recent weeks, Ziyech has better stats, he's been more nailed, and therefore I would lean more towards him. But both are fine, I think. I'm also bench boosting in 28. Yeah, I think it's a good idea for those who wildcarded in 26, I think, yeah. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. And I'm going to be making more videos. Team selection, that could actually be out pretty soon in the next few days. The same goes for the best wildcard and free hit teams. Those could be separate now because both of them are viable this week. They're both going to be very popular, especially the wildcard. And we need to talk about Chelsea, the best Chelsea assets. And I kind of covered it in this video. I think Rudiger, Reece James, Ziyech, Mason Mount, Thiago Silva, all of them are worth considering. I'd go for a double or triple up. Just, you have to keep thinking about this though. Game week 30, that is really crucial. And that will also influence who you bring in, which Chelsea players you bring in, and how many. So that's going to be really crucial. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. No worries there, Christian. And obviously, thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in today. And yeah, there'll be another reaction stream for Game Week 29. That will probably be at a more normal time. But yeah, once again, like I said, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do so before. Let me know what you think of all of these plans and stuff down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe for new. And thank you once again for helping us reach 10,000 subscribers. And also, you can join the Patreon and become a channel member. The link is in the description below. All the perks as well are available there, so you can see what you can get access to, including exclusive early access to my videos. My Twitter and Instagram are on screen, Dylan RCM, and we're almost at 1,000 followers for both of those, so it'd be much appreciated. Good luck with the rest of Game Week 27. Only one more game with Burnley against Leicester. Let's see what happens there. The free hit has actually been quite useful for me. I've gained 20 points and I've saved myself quite a lot of rank, but it's still not been ideal, which typically happens with me with a free hit, to be fair. But I might free hit in 30. I might actually end up using it later on in the season, and depending on that, depending on what happens in the FA Cup midweek, the plans could be entirely different to what you see in this video when I talk about my plans in the transfer, or should I say the team selection video in the transfer tips section. No Cancelo on wildcard. I'm looking to sell Foden, but Cancelo's been more than just essential. I don't think you need him though. Look, he's been really good, and typically I say go for Cancelo and Trent. You know, they're the best defenders in the game. But you can cover that with Robertson, who's got a double in 29, and he's got great fixtures until the end of the season too. But yeah, you can go for Cancelo as well. Save a bit of money. But if you want to optimize Game Week 29, maybe Robertson's the better pick. But yeah, fair enough. I think Cancelo's a good pick. He's the best one from City, no doubt about it. He's a bonus points machine, really good with assists. He's been fantastic. Hi Dylan, I have 2 free hits, wildcard and bench boost still available. In your opinion, when do you think is the best time to use the 2 free hits and wildcard? It's very hard for me to judge without knowing your full team, Mickey, but I'd probably say wildcard in 28, possibly free hit in 30, and maybe use the other free hit in 36. I don't know if you use your bench boost yet. You probably have because you haven't mentioned it there. Otherwise, the bench boost could be really well deployed in 36. But yeah, that's kind of my general opinion there. That's a good team, Christian, and I can see why you'd want to bench boost that. That's a pretty good team, actually, yeah. And you could even consider doing Van Dijk down to Rudiger and possibly captaining him this week. But that's a good team, Christian. You're well set up for that. And if you have any more questions or comments, let me know down in the comment section below. And yeah, I'll see you next time. And there's going to be more videos and streams. And thank you very much for everyone who tuned in today. It's much appreciated.